Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? Hello, we got a couple people in the house already. Let me turn this light down just a tad. Hello, hello. Is that better? Is that lighting better, John? Because you're in there watching us early. 21 peeps already for Ghost Night. Let's get a few people in the house and then we'll start this party out. Hi, Patty. Happy Hallows Eve, or as we said yesterday, happy Devil's Night. If you're from Michigan, we call it Devil's Night. Long history of Hallows Eve. Who else is in the house? 23 peeps. Are you ready to hear some ghost stories? Give me a thumbs up. We have a co-host, a special host tonight, directly from the paranormal world. He is Urban Ghost Hunter. He is in the green room, ready to come on. We also have Rosie stuff. Rosemary, she's one of our members. She's going to tell us a spooky tale in probably the second half an hour. Twist is here from Spookiness. Yes. Sherry, Mary, bring it on. Yes, we will. We'll get a few more people in here, and then we're going to run something from a news clip that I think is interesting, and I want to get your opinion of it. So, boo yourself, Happy. Very exciting evening tonight. I don't know if any of you have had paranormal experiences in your past. If you haven't, you probably know somebody that has. And I'm curious if you think that it is fact or fiction or what. But we'll talk about that as we go through. So we're going to get just a few more people in here. Boo, boo, boo. Yes. So let's see who else is in the house. Happy old soul. Bill knows what we're going to talk about. I've got something to show you after our first little news clip, but I'll bring Urban in with us and we'll discuss it because he's seen it. Just a few people have seen what I'm going to show you tonight. It almost caused me to cancel the show. And I'll tell you about that as we go on here. All right. I'm going to go ahead, and as we get warmed up and as people come in, I'm going to show you something that I viewed 2 or 3 weeks ago that really spooked me out. I'm going to have you watch the newscast. It's an interview, and then tell me what you think. Okay. So, I'm not real techie, but I'm going to try. So let me see if I can get it up here. This really freaked me out. I want to know what you think. Let me make sure my volume's turned up. Okay. Here we go.
Spooky security camera footage.
Yeah, a Metro Atlanta mom says it actually shows her son's ghost. CBS 46's Yasmina Alston spoke with some paranormal investigators to see if it's real or if it's a hoax.
Watch this.
Here in Canton, Georgia, a group of paranormal investigators look into the supernatural. So it was only right that we asked them about what a mom says she saw in her security footage.
It's definitely unexplainable.
A Metro mom says her home security footage captured her son's ghost.
Definitely tell that in the photo there is a human figure.
On Facebook, Jennifer Hodge posted that she was watching TV with her daughter when an alert on her phone said, "Your entryway camera saw someone." Here's what it showed.
No one's around at the time and something gets captured that we can't explain.
Hodge posted that the figure looks just like her son Robbie, who died in 2016. Hodge told media outlets her son died of an accidental drug overdose. Now, we showed the pictures to paranormal investigators Heather Thompson and Stephanie Forte with Paranormal Georgia Investigations. They agree with Hodge.
Okay, now I'm understanding what she's talking about, but it was definitely a human figure. I mean, there wasn't anything questionable as to, okay, maybe that's a curtain that's billowing, or maybe that's, an appliance. That's definitely a human figure.
The two are part of a group that investigate homes and businesses of those who think they're dealing with the paranormal. They tell me security footage can be helpful, but to confirm, an actual home visit would be necessary. Hodge posted she is happy to be able to know her son is always with them.
I'm glad that she's happy. I'm very glad that she's comforted and that this brings her joy, because I wish more people would have that type of reaction to paranormal activity.
In Canton, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
Okay. What do you think about that? I have a couple questions to ask you just as we get kind of into this. for one thing, do you believe in what that camera picked up? Do you think that that's the truth? I mean, did you see? It's amazing to me that a security camera would pick that up. And do you think it was their son? First, I want to know that. Second, would you be comforted by seeing that, or would you be scared shitless? Let's see what they say. Definitely was her son. Yes. It's a little crazy. I saw that and I got goosebumps when I saw it. I had to watch it over and over again. Now, I will tell you that my niece Jill, and I don't know if she's in here or not, but she said that the backup camera on their truck picked up something in the cemetery when they were there. These cameras, this new technology seems to be picking up these things. So let's see. First, do you believe it? And second, would you be comforted? Mary Jolie says both. Kitschy said they would find comfort in it. Everybody is comforted that their son committed suicide. Now, do you think he's coming back because he's just can't rest? Do you think the suicide plays a part in him being back in that house? You believe it's 100% possible and comforted. Depends on the person. Could be comforting or it could be bad. Yeah, I mean, even though it's your son, it's coming from an unexplained realm. You know what I mean? It's odd the ghost looked exactly like the photograph. It seems it would look different. Yes, Twist. If you don't believe this type of thing or you have a question about it, please let's talk about it, because I wonder too. You believe that if somebody is unrested, they might show up. Okay, you absolutely believe it. He's just letting them know he's okay. Maybe that's the case. Maybe his being in the kitchen and being in a normal situation is some kind of message he's trying to get across. Nope, you didn't miss the big news. It's coming. He's telling his parents he's okay. So most of you are okay with that. I haven't seen anybody say that they really don't believe that. Now, let's see what Twist says. Even the Bible says ghosts are demons. I don't really know. Now that's something I've never thought about, how religious entities look at the ghosts. I don't know. You tell me. You've had people and animals come to you in dreams that, yeah, sometimes I think dreams can be as real as, they might be visions. Okay. That's how we start off our show. I am going to bring our co-host in. I wanted to get you thinking about that. And that video really, I could not just watch it. I could not just watch it once. So you guys know that I have been wanting to bring Urban in for a month. We've been talking about it. Well, something happened this week, and we'll show you in a second. But Urban is definitely here today. So we're going to bring him in. I want everybody to welcome my co-host. Are you ready, Eric? Are you ready? Okay. Hello, Eric.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yes. So everybody, welcome Eric. He is our urban ghost hunter. You've probably seen him on YouTube. Urban, tell us a little bit about your history in the paranormal field. We want to hear all about
I hope you have a minute. I'm just kidding. No, I got into this field probably about 15 years ago, almost 16 now. It's real simple. I moved into a house. I didn't believe in ghosts, and things started going bump in the night, more or less to say. But anyway, I moved into a house, and we once I got settled in there, within about 3 to 4 weeks, started having crazy experiences at night, and mostly at night. A little bit in the afternoons or during the daytime, but it really ramped up late at night. And so it kind of left me in a state of where, I really didn't know what to do. I didn't know who I could reach out to and say, hey, come tell me that I'm not the crazy one.
Yes.
Come tell me that what I'm experiencing is real. And I couldn't find anybody. And so I just started researching it myself. it led to about 7 or 8 years of just heavy research,
Yep.
learning, theories, science behind the paranormal. And after that, I decided that, about 7 or 8 years into researching it, I decided that, hey, I wanted to be able to help other people out that's going through something similar to like what I went through.
Sure.
And so I started up Memphis Empath Paranormal Society,
Uh-huh.
and we started making house calls for people having the same kind of experiences. And we've been doing that all this time. Uh, and then as I got a little bit more into uh, investigating and researching and going to taking house calls and stuff like that, um, I started like looking into other theories around the paranormal, like haunted objects, stuff like that.
Yep.
And so that I started really researching that, and it wasn't until after I actually had one of our followers actually send me an item that they said was haunted, that ended up well, to say the least, it caused a lot of issues, and it ended up leading me out to Las Vegas to put that item in the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
yeah, and so and then doing that, I just decided that I had a passion to film also. So we decided, hey, if we're going out and doing all these investigations, why not document and film it and share it with anybody that wants, that's inquisitive like we are.
Right.
And so that's really kind of how I broke off into it.
Okay. So this week, I've been trying to get a hold of Eric just to do the show. Well, Thursday, something happened, something that I really had to find Eric. So I'm one of his followers who was trying to get a hold of Eric. So I'm going to show you, and we're going to discuss this together. Now, I want you to just tell me honestly what you see. And you all know Wednesday, I was at different meetings for this big utility pole that's coming in our marsh. Okay. And it was quite a stressful day. Well, I want to share with you some things that I want to share with you what I've been telling you all week. Okay. So like I said, I'm not real techie. We have a little background, Eric. I think there's do you have your volume turned up on your camera or something?
Yeah, let me fix that.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to put the first picture up. Let me find it. Okay. Let me see if that's showing. Okay. So this was a picture on John's trail cam. Now you know that he's got probably 5 trail cams out there. I'm still hearing a little bit of noise, Eric. Do you have another device on?
I doubt.
Okay. Let me go ahead and see if okay, that's better. So I want you to look at this picture and I want you to see the time. And can you see the deer in there? So there is a deer on this trail cam at 7:17 on Thursday. Y'all see it? Give me a thumbs up or something if you see it. I want you to be able to see it. If you're on your PC, you're probably going to see it better. But I want you to look at this for, yes, okay, you see it. I want you to see this. John is actually out there hunting too. He's in a tree somewhere, all right? But he's out there. So that's at 7:17. All right. Now let me try this here. Don't screw this up, Heidi. You can do it. Look at that. Can you see it? What is that? That is at 7:24 from the same camera. You can see where the deer stood. Can you see that? And if you see it, what do you think that is? And I know we have a lag, so I'm going to wait. Now, Eric, you were a little bit when I called you, I was a little bit wound up, wasn't I?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I when I first saw it, I was like, I couldn't get the best look at it until actually I got it on the desktop and actually just really looked at it. But for number one, I could tell the depth of field on it, so I knew that it wasn't a bug or anything like that up on the camera lens. So to me, it was an incredible catch, and I had to. I mean, I was really anxious to actually look at it on the computer to see exactly what all you had just caught.
You guys tell me what you see. Now I'm going to bring it closer, but I want you to see it from the camera's vision. So Kathy says it's camera feedback. Kitschy said a marsh spirit. Looks like a ship's captain. Maiden of the marsh. I would say something with the cam. Okay, you think there's something with the camera that's wrong. It's the real deal. Looks like a stick walker. Yes, it's dark outside here very early. This is 7:24 actually. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to show you. You can see it like a light. Show it closer. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can do this. So does anybody really think that is nothing out there, but maybe just, I don't know, something that's went wrong on the camera? You see that it just took a picture of that deer. And I'm going to see if I can bring it up closer. Okay. Give me a chance here. So far, so good. We'll see if we can get this one up. There she is. There it is. Now, if you're looking at your phone, you're going to have trouble. If you're looking on your PC, you're going to see it. What do you see? Now, I have to tell you guys, if you think I'm a fruitcake, the timing to see her out there is really weird. And John takes literally 50 to 100 pictures every night out there of deer, fox, raccoons, squirrels, whatever. And all of a sudden, this shows up. So, Urban, you mentioned when we talked about the hair. Now, you blew this up on your cameras. Tell us about the hair.
So if when you actually sent me a copy of this, I went in and I pulled the image up as best as I could without it matrixing too bad and pixelating on me. But you could literally see the ends of the hair coming draped over the collar on it, which is just, I mean, that alone is what really captured my attention, because I said, well, if it was something on the limb, we would never catch anything like that. No detail like that. And that was really the detail that I saw that just really stood out on me, stood out to me. And let me tell you, I'm an open-minded skeptic. Even though I hunt ghosts and I try to catch every bit of evidence that I can, I'm still open-minded skeptic, and I look for every plausible explanation.
Yes.
I couldn't find it with that. Not with noticing the ends of the hair over the collar when we pulled it up through software. It was just, that was phenomenal. And then to look at it through a negative spectrum and to actually see what I saw in there, yeah, there was no doubt in my mind that you had actually captured something. I don't know what, but something paranormal.
So another thing that you mentioned that was unusual was there's no motion. There's no motion blur, which means she just appeared. Right? I mean, you said it's really unusual that there's no motion. And even when we go out to feed if we're riding in our buggy and we're out there in the marsh, or we stop and walk there's always seems to be a blur on a lot of things. She's fixed. I don't know how she got there without another camera shot or another shot of her leaving, but she's fixed. She doesn't move.
Right.
Another thing, and there's another unusual thing about this, isn't there, Eric?
There is.
Why don't you tell everybody, because you said you'd only seen something like this maybe once, and it was just with fingers of a hand.
Yeah.
What's so unusual?
So what's really cool about this image was when I pulled it in and looked at it. I noticed something about it that I've never really seen before, and that was that you can see bones. You can literally see leg bones. If you take this image and pull it in, you'll see it. But you clearly see what looks to be like the tibula and fibula of the legs, and which is just crazy. Also, if when we pulled it into it, when I pulled it up onto in a negative spectrum, we noticed that you could actually see the feet as well.
Oh, yes.
And
so this is freaking me out because I saw the skeleton and Eric said that you could see the skeleton up to the pelvis or the torso.
Yeah.
And so tonight, actually this afternoon, I hadn't seen the feet. This afternoon when I pulled it up to crop it, oh my God, you guys, I saw the feet, and they are skeletons too. So that is very weird. And now, what is the importance of seeing the feet, Eric? Does that kind of make the credibility of it?
Yeah, what it did was a lot of times when people see it, they'll say, "Oh, that was a lens flare, or that was a bug that was flying in front of the camera," and so it's really hard to gauge depth perception on it. But when I looked closer at it, and we took the image and put it into a negative spectrum, we actually saw the feet. And if you look at the funny thing about it is that you don't notice feet like in the image here now that we're looking at. You don't notice the feet. You see the little rolling clumps of grass there, and you don't see the feet. So it would be easy to look at it and say right off the bat that is just a bug or something right in front of the camera moving. But when we pulled up the negative, we were able to actually see the feet behind the grass, the blades of grass. And that's where we realized that, hey, it's actually out in the field and is actually standing there.
So some people are saying maybe there's an Indian burial ground. What do you guys think seeing the bones means? I talked to another intuitive, and they've been doing this for a career, a lifetime. They've been intuitive,
right?
And they hadn't seen the skeleton. What do you think that means at home? I'm curious what you think. What do you think, Eric? Does it have any meaning, or is it just a weird thing?
I think everything has meaning, and were you to see bones, I think that could be a meaning for something. Seeing the skeletal outline could definitely have a deeper meaning than just a picture of it. In sense, it could be that they're trying to send a message that hey, this very well could be Indian burial grounds or something else.
Maybe they don't
I think it could be
dug up in the excavation of these poles. Who knows? That's
right.
Twist has a question, and I was going to ask you this too. Do you think she has a hat on her head or a halo? I'm curious at home what you think.
That's a really good question. That's when I saw it. The first thing I thought was, heck, that looks like a halo. But I mean, I couldn't really tell when we looked at it exactly what it was. It's definitely something. I don't know if it's a halo. I don't know if it's some type of shape of a hat. I'm not really sure.
I want to show you far away again. Again, in talking with somebody who's very intuitive, they said if it was a halo, it might suggest innocence on just innocence. I don't know
Right.
is I would think it was an angel or something, but I wonder if the hat or a halo has some kind of significance in this. But I wanted to show you that again, farther out picture so you could see her. So anyway, I was quite a wreck, and I'm still quite a wreck to see her feet today. We went out there yesterday, and I was this is way back in the very corner of the marsh, but this shook me up a little bit. Everybody thinks she looks Indian. She's got curly hair though, doesn't she, Eric?
Yes, she does.
Um,
And you notice, Rosie, that my first response was when I saw the picture. That's what I said. I said, "Well, I can see her hair," and
yes.
I right off the bat when I saw the image, I was like, I can see her hair, and I can see it draped over the collar of her gown, and that's exactly what it looks like. I mean, and I look at a lot of images all the time. And when we go to an investigation, we may take 1,000 pictures, and so I look at a lot of pictures, and I pick them apart, and that's crazy because not only do you have one item that's showing credibility to it, but then we turn around and we look and we're able to verify that there's actually, I will call them feet, skeletal feet, behind the grass that we actually found in the negative. And
Yes.
so, that shows us that it's definitely 100% standing in the field out there and not up on the camera. It's just absolutely incredible.
It's interesting that Monica sees a graduate. It's almost like maybe she was a graduate age. Maybe that's part of her age. Maybe who knows what message she's trying to get across. Monica, that's kind of
Right.
cool. It gives you something to think about. But just remember the amount of pictures that these cameras take. And John has never ever seen this. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I think it was a full moon. I mean, that's weird too. But the fact that it happened in all this chaos with these polls and all these meetings the day after is just way too weird. It's way too weird.
It is. It's very coincidental.
And I've had this question, ask her just, I don't want to. Some people are open to that. I don't want to. Although you feel the need to kind of help her, it's like, what is going on with you that you can't move past this? But yeah, how long does this image last? She's in one photo. So like we talked earlier, Susan, there was no motion for her to get there, no motion for her to leave. And John, what is that camera set at time-wise? Does it take a picture every 3 seconds? I think it does. Where she's standing is where they want to put the power lines. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Anyway, John will probably tell you, I think it snaps a picture every 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, we use game cameras also, and I think we have those set on like 3-second intervals.
Yep.
I think is what they shoot at.
And okay, he says every minute. Well, I guess if it was every minute, that would give her time. If it's seconds, that's something to think about too, because how did she get there? How did she leave? It just didn't pick her up. Okay, so I wanted to tell you guys this has been on my mind all weekend, but I wanted to show you first, and I'm letting Eric show this to and use it if he wants to in his on his channel or with some of his colleagues that are also in the field. So there you go. There's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Crazy but true. I'm just glad Eric was there to answer my crazy personal messages. I just would have went nuts if I hadn't had you there to talk to. My goodness.
Oh,
Okay.
it was it was a great capture. Now it's just to figure out why she was there.
Yeah.
If you can figure that out, you're on top of it. Um, Maybe she's there to pass on a message
Yes.
and
Who
for you to
knows?
figure it out.
Who knows? So I think there's a little noise in the background, Donald. Like somebody might be watching TV on Eric's end or something, but it's okay. We can deal with that as long as it's not her.
Excuse me.
Okay. So I'm gonna let Eric tell a story. We're gonna try to keep it to 5 or 10 minutes, a ghost story, and then we're gonna bring Rosemary in, and then I'm gonna tell you a story that happened a while ago to me. It's you're not gonna believe it when I tell you, but it's true. Maybe she used to live there. Maybe she's protecting the marsh from being ruined. Okay, a question: do I use that picture to help my cause? That's another one. I don't know. But anyway, okay, Eric, do you have a quick little story you can tell us?
Yeah. Let me see.
Maybe something you've been working on recently?
Well, let me tell you this. So we were actually working on a case here just recently. It was, let's say, a young lady back during the pandemic. We She had purchased a old abandoned business right here in Memphis, and decided she was going to open up a business at the end of the pandemic. And her and her husband bought this place. This place had sat abandoned for like 20 years, and she had she decided she was going to open a day spa, and her and her husband got in there and they started renovating. And when they bought the building, they were told that the building was a child's clinic, an old child's clinic. They had no other information other than that. The building was built back in 1941, I believe. And as they went in and started renovating and getting it ready for their spa, to open their spa, they started having like crazy experiences in here, like from seeing shadow figures in the evening times to actually capturing shadow figures on the security cameras inside the building while they were in there working. And they reached out. They actually reached out, called us, and said, "Hey, we're having all these experiences. Like we hear children laughing and running up and down the hallways. We hear footsteps. We're seeing the shadow figures. And like the owner's husband told me, he's like, I go through here at nighttime, and all the light switches on the opposite end of the building, so you have to walk through the entire building after you turn the light switches off. Now the building had absolutely no windows. Had two old slotted windows in the very back of the building, and two slotted windows right in the front door on the other end at the front of the building. But you'd have to walk all the way through the building in the dark at night when you turn the lights off. And the guy would tell me that you would walk down the hall and you would see shadow moving from room to room across the hallway, trying to walk down the hallways. And so they told us all the story, and and I really didn't know what to think. I went in we went and we did like a preliminary walkthrough. But from the moment I walked in there, I felt heavy. It just felt heavy. I mean, the atmosphere just felt like so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Did you feel the temperature drop?
Oh, it was incredible. You would be sitting there, and literally you would have an ambient temperature drop of about 15 to 20 degrees in one area, and we documented that.
I was going to ask you that.
We would. We literally would get readings where we would get electromagnetic field readings in the same area that we would have those temperature drops of spikes higher than 999.99 milligauss. The tropiometer would not pick up any higher. That's how high it would go.
So you guys watching at home, I'm curious if any of you have had experience, which I know some of you have. Have you experienced that temperature change too? And Eric, what accounts for that temperature change? Is there an explanation for that?
Well, there's a theory behind it, and they believe that it's actually actually a spirit that is actually pulling energy from the environment around it to manifest itself. And when it pulls that energy, it causes the temperature to drop in that area. A lot of times, we can actually document electromagnetic field hike or spike, and then we'll catch the temperature drop as that spike begins. And so a lot of times we look for that. We look at like the barometric pressure. We look at the electromagnetic field. We'll look at the static field to see if it's picking up any kind of positive or negative ions. And like I said, the main thing though is on that is when you start getting that, the best thing to do is the simplest thing to do is pick up a recorder and just start asking questions or recording, see what you get back on the playback. And
or get the hell out. You feel that temperature drop.
Or do like some that we've had saying, get out. Yep.
What do you tell people who are living with this? I mean, what do you tell them how to deal with it? I mean, I know there's things like you can cleanse your house or you can do this or that, but how do you tell people how to deal with it? Do you say, well, they're harmless? Or do you say to them?
A lot of times, if we have somebody that we go into a place and we say, oh yeah, there's definitely something going on here. Some activity is going on here. We don't. We'll tell them, hey, either there's a few options there, such as learn to coexist with whatever's there. And say, hey, look, this is now my house. I respect, it was your house. I understand that. And I respect that. Now this is my house and this is my family's house. And you have to learn to expect us and what our guidelines are. And you cannot overstep those guidelines. And a lot of times that does work. Second would be, is, hey, is it never hurts to have a blessing. And I always preach that, don't pick up the phone and call the pastor down the street and say, hey, look, man, we've kind of felt a little bit of negativity in the house, or we've kind of, we've kind of experienced some, paranormal stuff a little bit. Don't be afraid to speak up, because, back, 20 or 30 years ago, it was kind of taboo to talk about. Now it's open. Everybody's open about it. And don't be afraid.
Maybe just don't be afraid. There wants to be released. Maybe they want to be released from whatever's troubling them, and maybe they just need that too.
Yep. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call the local church and ask them to come and do a blessing on the home. And 99% of the time that works.
Yes.
And you just notice how much more. And I'm not one for all the metaphysics and all that stuff, but I do. Like I said, you can definitely always tell. Like when I've gone back into a home after it's been blessed, you can just tell within the environment that it's lighter, it's better. I mean, all the way around.
Yes. Well, I think we're going to bring our guest in, Rosemary. So Rosemary is looking at, when your thumb goes up, Rosemary, we're going to bring you in. Okay, she's ready to come. So we're going to bring her in. We'll see if we can get her here. There she is. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Heidi. Hi, Eric.
Hi.
Okay. We're going to let Rosemary tell her story here. Let me see if I can get her around here where we can get her. Rosemary, you're Rosie stuff, aren't you?
That's right.
YouTube. Okay, everybody.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, is that good? Am I centered?
Yeah. Eric, I'm getting a little background noise like a TV or something. I'm going to mute you while she's telling her story. Is that okay?
Oh.
Okay. I'm just going to mute Eric. Wow. Okay. There. And then I'll bring
Okay.
you back in when she's done. Okay, Rosemary, give us some of the details about what you're going to tell us. And where are you from, Rosie?
Well, I'm originally from California, and now I live in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. We've been living here for over 6 years, and we love it. It's beautiful. Live right on the lake, so in the forest. Big change from a city girl to a forest girl, but I love
Yeah.
it. Really, my story takes place in Virginia City in Nevada. And have you ever been to Virginia City, Heidi?
No, I have not.
Oh, it is a wonderful town. I mean, it's like going back in time. It's still got the old wood plank sidewalks, and all the buildings are really old, and it's just got tons of history. And the bars there are like called Bucket of Blood, and it's just really something. And my husband and I decided to spend our anniversary there. And we actually chose it because we'd been watching shows like Eric's, and they featured a hotel there called the Silver Queen. And
He knows it.
and they said it was haunted. And so we said, you know what? Let's try it. And we
Oh my
got
God.
ourselves
You're the type of person that wants to try that?
Oh, I try all kinds of crazy stuff. But and then when I get there, I'm going, what am I doing? But anyway, we got a digital recorder, and we got a camera, and we got reservations to go to the Silver Queen. We went there for our anniversary, and when we got there, the town was pretty well empty because it was October, and it's cold there, and it's after the tourist season, so there was hardly anybody there. And the streets were really quiet, but you really got that kind of eerie feeling we were looking for. And we checked into the Silver Queen, and we knew that the room that was haunted was room 11. And so I said, I don't want room 11. I'm too scared of room 11, but I'd like it right next door if possible. And she said, hey, the hotel's empty. Nobody's here. No problem. And gave us 12. And it had an adjoining room to the haunted room, so we just kept that locked. But we went and we went to the wash show. That was the one place that was open that evening, and we got something to eat. We had a great time. We went back to the room, looked through the hotel, and pretended we were ghost hunters, and took pictures and all of that. And the hotel is great. It's got like huge high ceilings. It's got several floors, and there's a wood railing that encircles each floor. So it's kind of like a hallway or something, and then the rooms are off of that. But you can look all the way up several floors when you look up top. There's very, very thick old carpeting. It's like they put carpeting on top of carpeting on top of carpeting. So you really kind of sink down when you walk in it. Anyway, so we went into our room, and we turned on a recorder. And the very first thing I said is, if there's any ghosties in this room, please leave. This is Tom. I'm Rosemary. Hello, but please leave. And because anyways, I was afraid. I was really, really nervous. Just talking about it makes me nervous, actually. And so we went to bed. I asked Tom to leave the light on. He didn't like that, but he did. He turned on the light, and he was like, he'd been driving a long time that day, and we had a big day. So he was like going to sleep right away, but not me. I was listening to every little sound in that building. I could hear the tick of their old fashioned radiator heater. And pretty soon I started hearing something else. And that was footsteps, sound like cowboy boots. That's what it sounded like on wood, but there's no wood floors. It's all carpeted, and you could hear them walking down that hall. And I knew we were the only people in there that were in a room. So I'm going, what in the heck's going on here? And then I could actually hear like somebody holding on to the rail, the wood sound, that a hand makes kind of skidding on wood. And then I heard doors, and I could hear muffled voices, and it was a lady and a man. And he had a real kind of gravelly voice and all that. And they would kind of talk, and then he'd come back out and he'd walk, and then you could hear his boots again, and then go back in there, and they'd talk again, and it was going like that. Then it would be quiet, and it was, okay, they're done. I can go to sleep. They're done. And then it'd start up again, and it would repeat. And oh my gosh, by this time, I'm like underneath my husband. I was just, and he's like, anyways, it was.
Your husband heard it too?
He did, but he was tired, and he tends to ignore things. So he was just like kind of ignoring it, and I was the one who was freaking out. Finally, around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, he's like, honey, please turn off the light. Please turn it off. So, okay. So I turned off the light, and then I, of course, laid there awake, and I could hear those boots come, and they sounded like they were just getting really close to my door. And I just waited, and there was no sound, and I was like just waiting there. And I don't know if it was the handle, but something moved that door. Something jiggled it or moved it or bumped it or something on it. And that was the end of it. Then I fell asleep. I don't remember anything else until the morning. And we headed to Reno from there. And we went real early in the morning and took off. And I was ready to get out of there, believe me. And went to Reno and sat down and had breakfast and listened to that tape that we let run all night.
Ah.
Yeah. And what is the very first thing I hear on that darn tape?
Turn off the damn light.
No, it was, who are you? Gravelly, scary, spooky voice asking me, who are you? I mean, it was not my husband's voice. It was not my husband's voice. And I actually, as I listened longer, I could hear little footsteps. I could hear little sounds, not make out anything too much, but you could hear little sounds in there. But that first one, who are you? He was in the room with us. He was in the room.
Did you feel the chill? I could bring Eric in. Did you feel a chill? I got you back on, Eric.
No, hi, Eric. No, I didn't feel a chill. But what do you think of that, Eric?
I think you were. I think you were in one of the most haunted towns in America. I mean, right next to Tombstone, Arizona. I mean, it's just that's actually on my bucket list. The Watch Show Club is actually in Nevada City is actually on my bucket list. I haven't made it there yet. I've made one of two bucket list places.
You will love it. They had some old cowboys there with the cowboy hats and the beards and everything, playing at an old wood round table playing poker. And they were throwing cash money all over the place. It was the atmosphere is very cool there.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it.
We did.
It was fun to tell it again. I could relive it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rosemary. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. All right. Good night, all.
Good night. That was fun. So
that was.
I'm going to tell you a story that I experienced, and this is pretty crazy. And there's been several experiences over a few years that I lived in the house next door to where I am now. And I'll tell you a little bit about that because it's pretty crazy. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Rosemary. So when I was a kid, and I'm talking, I had just gotten out of college. I lived next door to where I do now. My parents had bought a home at auction, and it was out in the country, and they weren't living there. It was just a weekend home, so I moved out there. Well, it was a pretty weird experience in that house. There were things going on constantly, but I can tell you my experience, my first experience of actually seeing something. So picture this. I'm going to show you the layout of the house. We were sitting at a table right by the door. It was in the kitchen. Now the kitchen made a U, and there'd be up from the table. You could see the staircase going upstairs. Then it made a U to the dining room, the living room, and then my mom and dad's bedroom and the bathroom. So it made a big U. So this was a weekend, and I had been dating John. My brother and sister were there, and we were playing cards at the table. Yeah, I'll mute Mike, Eric, while I tell this story. Okay, it's the TV. There's a TV or something in the background. Okay, so I'm sitting at the table, right, and we're playing cards, and then that chill came in. Now we didn't have any experience. We didn't know what was going on, but I am telling you, and Eric will probably nod his head. That chill, when you feel it, it drops. And we're like, what's going on in here? It's freezing. All of us felt it. And then we started to hear, and this was weird. We started to hear voices. Now the voices, and this is probably what some of you might hear, or some of you that have stories might recognize this. And Rosemary kind of said it. The voices are muffled, and it sounds almost like a radio. It sounds like somebody's got a radio in the background. So John said, maybe your mom and dad are still up, because they were up for the weekend. And so John or Don, I can't remember which one, my brother, went around the big U and checked on my mom and dad. And he comes back and he said, they're not even awake. And so anyway, we're just kids. We're playing cards again. And I'm facing the staircase. Everybody else is in a U, around the table. And we heard the voices again. Then it went away. So we're playing cards. And all of a sudden I looked up. This figure came through the dining room, around the U, looked at me, and went right up the staircase. I literally turned blue. My hands and my feet turned blue. Everybody thought I was having some kind of emergency at the table. I was the one facing him. I saw him go up the stairs, and they had to talk me into breathing. I had been so scared that I forgot to breathe. I gotta ask Eric about this. I can't keep him muted. Can you believe that, Eric?
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
So, anyway, the story is, I'm going to take, they're really hearing that back thing. So I'm going to mute you again. I'll bring you right back in. So anyway, the story is, and I lived there for 5 years, starting my career, or whatever you want to call it, because we had a gas station there. I sold but anyway, I lived there 5 years. I had a pillow over my head, a meat cleaver under my bed, and a clear trail to go out the back door to sleep in the camper in the barn if I had to. And I am telling you, I don't know how I did it. What we found out was the previous owners of the house, the guy's name is called Shorty. He was a mechanic. I saw him in his mechanic garb, his one-piece suit. And he actually committed suicide out in front of the building that I started my business in. And he did it in front of everybody. And that's who we saw that night. And I could tell you more stories. I don't want to spook you out. It's over at the other house, not at Teak Stock. But that was my first experience with it. And we saw him several times, and he must have been a tortured soul or something. I don't know why he was there, but and that house is just a portal. My 87-year-old father still lives there. I don't know how he does. But since I moved out of there, I've had years of no experiences at all until that stupid photo. So what do you think of that one, Eric?
That's creepy. But hey, I mean, I don't I don't know. I don't know how you could live with that going on every day. Like, that's I lived in a house that was haunted for, a year, and that was all I could take. I was like, no, this is enough. I can't sleep. I can't do anything. I've got to move. I've got to go. So
Yes.
I could bring myself to live with it, and I wouldn't. I still wouldn't. I don't think.
There's one thing, I don't know, I was going to ask you about this. In that house, we experienced the clock going forward. Is that something that is energy from
Yeah.
them that moves those clocks forward? Not backward. They'd all move forward.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's one of those things. My dad had finally come up, and this is after I actually moved out of the house, and he was so upset with all the banging around and all the other stuff that was in that house. He actually said, if you don't quiet down, if you don't make it so that we can live here with you, we're going to burn the house down. They were gone for a while.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, sometimes that's like I said. You either gotta like draw a line and tell them you can't cross this line. You have to respect my boundaries, and like I said, we understand that this was your house or whatever your place, but now it's our place, and we have to make it a home, and so you have to learn how to respect that. So when we go to sleep, don't be tickling our feet in the middle of the night, waking us up, or scaring us in the middle of the night. Don't be doing none of that. That's our time. You
yeah,
gotta respect that, and a lot of times they do. A lot of times they will. They're just people. They're just like you and I. So
anyway, that's my ghost story. I'm going to leave some more for next year, okay? Because I could go on and on. So what do you guys, for those of you watching, I'm curious. Are you a believer in paranormal, or are you a skeptic? Just write believer or skeptic. And there you go. Another thing I want to talk to you about, most of you guys said do not use this ghost out there as a way to get petitions. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. I may send that video just to the people putting the polls up. I'm going to do a short on it, but I may send them that just to show them. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what she wants me to do with it. Tammy's a skeptic. Joanne's a believer. Believer, believer. Yep. Total believer, Serena. Timmy's totally a believer. Yeah. Well, if anyone else wants to come on tonight, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. I don't want to spook you too much tonight. Have you ever heard of Devil's Night? Do you guys call that Devil's Night down in Tennessee?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't so much hear a lot of people referring to it as that. They hey, what are y'all doing? It's the eve of Halloween. But I don't hear a lot of people around using it down here. But when you first said it, I said, "Oh, I haven't heard that in a while." But I've got a lot of family that was from up in northern Illinois, so I always heard it. It's the Devil's Night. So.
Pauline said if I use that picture, they might use it. You know what? I thought about that. They could think that I made up that picture just to get petitions, and I don't want them to think that. Not that it really matters. I know what it is, but I'm going to think about it. But I'm going to let Eric use it. If he can find anything else about it, he's welcome to the picture. All right. So did you guys enjoy tonight? I am just curious if you enjoyed tonight. Most people don't get into this. Yeah. Well, I thought it would just be a fun way to get together on Hallows Eve. Bonnie says she's lived in a house with a spirit for 40 years. Yep. Now, I wonder if the spirits that come back, are they all troubled, or do some of them just miss life here? How could you miss life here? I don't know. What do you think, Eric?
I didn't hear. I'm sorry. I lost you there for a second.
The spirits that we see, are most of them troubled beings, or I
don't know. Because and the reason why I say that is because a lot of times, if we get activity, a lot of times, we'll run a EVP session or electronic voice phenomena session where we record, just run a digital recorder to see what we catch, and we'll ask questions. And a lot of times we don't get that, like, they were distressed or they're troubled or anything like that. It doesn't, very seldom does it ever seem like that.
There's a
Usually,
question.
we try to go with historical significance when we investigate somewhere. Like, we won't like take on like a case of, like, let's say that, somebody just recently passed away and their family members saying, well, I think they're trying to make contact with me, or I think I've seen them in the bathroom, in some sense like that, where we've had that before. We usually won't investigate those cases like that. We want it to be historical or something older, instead of taking on during the period of the grief process, and especially because of the fact that, I mean, it's so soon, and a lot of times we think that that when a person passes away, we believe that there is like a transition, and for some reason that spirit isn't sticking around for some reason. And usually we've determined that people might actually experience paranormal activity for about 2 days after that person's passed away. So, yeah.
Yes. John's dad passed away, and that's another story, but he passed away at the strike of midnight. And he worked on clocks. When he passed away, the clocks never rang at the same time. It would be so frustrating because you go in there and they ring all over the house, never the same time. When he passed away at midnight, they all rang at the same time. And the energy after he passed away, we came out in the shop here, and there were clocks running that weren't plugged in and had no battery.
Yep.
And this was only for a short time after he passed.
Yep.
So
I believe that when people pass on, and a lot of times that for the few days that we say there, that the spirit or that spiritual being kind of lingers, is basically is saying their goodbyes. When you look and like you see a robin on your windowsill, and we say, oh, that represents this or that. A lot of times, I think it's the little things that we see like that, is that person actually, saying, hey, I'm still here, or,
Or how about, hey, I made it. Just calling you to say I got there okay. Just letting you know I got there okay and I made it. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question, and I know you might not know this. You do. How come? Let me get up to get it. Why do we never see spirit animals, or do you?
Well, actually, we've captured the audio of like a cat's meow. We've actually captured an image probably about 4 years ago, I think it's been now, of what looked to be like a cat. Actually. Also, we took on an investigation down in northern Mississippi about 2.5 years ago, where the gentleman passed away in the home, but his dog had passed away probably 2 or 3 months before he did. And when we took an image, we actually captured it. We didn't capture an image of the gentleman, but we had actually captured an image of the dog sitting in the bathroom. And so,
that makes my heart happy. Although, whenever you lose a pet, there's some time in there, just like we were talking about the clocks going ahead, and that's a signal that I'm okay, I'm there, whatever you want to say. It seems like when you lose a pet for a few days or a week, you almost, if they got in bed with you, you can almost feel them getting in there. It's like they're telling you too, it's okay. I don't know how to explain that, but it might sound weird. But I don't know.
I think they have, and I've seen it more often than what we've captured. But I've seen actual images. Matter of fact, there's a gentleman here local that owns a historical home, and he actually took an image. He had a deer run out front of him a few months ago, and he wrecked his car. Well, he was out just taking pictures of the car, in front of his house,
Mhm.
ready for the insurance company, and there Dudley was sitting in the front seat. And I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Dudley the dog was sitting right there, and Terry sent me that and said, "Hey, check this photo out." And I looked, and I was like, "Whose dog is that?" I mean, it's clear.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about his dog or Dudley, and so I mean, I thought that was absolutely incredible when he actually showed me a photo of Dudley, and then I looked at that picture and I go, "Well, that's Dudley sitting there." And he said, "I know, but Dudley passed away 4 or 5 years ago." So I just thought
Tammy,
that was really, really cool.
that's really cool. Yeah. Tammy said after her brother passed away, she got a call from his phone number, but no one was on the phone when she answered it after he passed away. I
Wow.
tell you, they say that spirits or ghosts or whatever you want to call them work with electrical currents. They can do stuff with that.
Yep.
And so possibly they can make the phone ring. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Rosie, I had actually just had read an article about a there was it was a home where a homicide had occurred, and the house was empty. It was abandoned. The bank got it back, and it wasn't supposed to have any power on there or anything. But yet, the same afternoon, like every afternoon at like 3 p.m., 911 would repeatedly get hang up calls from that home,
Mhm.
and just creepy. I mean, creepy. Knowing there's no power there at the home, nobody's lived there. I mean, just creepy story.
Well, maybe somebody's trying to get a message across somehow. Anyway, I want to thank Eric for joining us tonight. Eric, if you ever have something you want to share with us, you're always welcome on the show. It's been really interesting tonight. Thank you for making our Hallows Eve a little bit more special. And thanks for stepping in today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Rosie. It was fun.
Okay. And everybody else, I want to say thank you for attending. Remember, tomorrow I'll be on at a special time, 1 o'clock, because I'm sleeping in. I might not sleep tonight, to tell you the truth. No. But I'm going to move it up from 10 to 1 tomorrow for our vintage sale. So we'll be doing that tomorrow on Halloween. Thank you for participating in the show. Maybe we'll do something like this every 6 months or something. Maybe we won't wait till Halloween. It's been fun. I like to hear stories. I like to hear stories about unexplained things. That's what makes life so special. It's just a mystery, isn't it? All right. We'll talk to you later. Eric, stay on. I want to thank you after we say goodbye. We'll see you guys later. Later, Gators. Thank you,
Okay.
Eric.